and he's got this ego.
He's also a little rage blinded as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't seem to fully, I guess, trust his kids with certain things.
Yeah, and my highlight of the episode is the symmetry between the two fires, baby Sam and adult Sam, and the two fires. Just love how all of that was done. I think it was really well done. So then we're going to do a quick mental health check. I'm not a psychologist, so this segment is purely based on my own opinions, and a weekly reminder that if you're struggling with anything at all, please reach out and get help.
Like Sam and Dean usually don't.
Yeah,
exactly.
Especially Dean.
I would say this week was slightly concerning regarding mental health as a whole.
Yeah.
Dean's anger is really, really out of control in this episode.
Yeah.
He's very, very much involved in Sam's upbringing and Sam's life. He very much knows the details and facts of Sam's life, but cannot bring himself to process the impact that had on Sam.
Yeah.
Can't accept any criticism of John or Mary, and is any small criticism that Sam has is perceived as a threat or an attack on Dean personally or their family, and that's concerning for me. I'm concerned. Not fully concerned as I am in some other episodes, but they should probably be seeing a therapist on a regular basis to deal with some of that anger.
Oh yeah, definitely. For my research on ADHD, I came across a condition called rejection sensitive dysphoria, and I'm not saying that Dean has it definitely, but he exhibits some of the symptoms. You react very, very, I guess, passionately, emotionally to perceived rejection.
That's pretty much Dean.
Yeah. And with his kind of childhood, he is very at risk for it. Even I have ADHD, and lots of people who have it end up developing this. So if someone with Dean's childhood, which is arguably worse,
I don't think that we could say that Sam has it necessarily based on this episode, but I think based on this episode, that sounds like a symptom that Dean displays. Yeah. We can't obviously diagnose him, but that does sound like something that Dean exhibits as the general personality trait. But I also think Sam does it at certain points as well. In some certain seasons, in particular. And that would track if that's big. That's a definite possibility.
Yeah, I don't think they were written with this in mind, but if you look at their behavior, they exhibit some of the symptoms.
I definitely think that's a definite possibility for something that could be going on for sure. So the next segment that we have is soul transactions, which is I'm gonna nail down how much a soul is worth. I'm gonna take all of the transactions we see involving a human soul. I'm gonna tell you how much a human soul is worth. We haven't had any yet so far. Nobody's tried to sell their soul yet. And to finish off this week's episode, we have line of the week. We're gonna pick up a line that might have been funny or cute or dramatic or emotional, and we're gonna start with Faith.
KJ already said mine earlier. I love the moment when the cop asks Dean, "You got anything that's real?" and Dean goes, "My boobs," and then has that
I love that
adorable smile after. It's so cute.
I love that. Moira, how about you?
My favorite is when I told Dad I was scared of the thing in my closet, he gave me a 45. What? That's insane.
Yeah.
And tells you so much about the show in that one sentence.
That's a lot of childhood information right there.
Yeah.
Meredith?
I'm gonna go with Dad's on a hunting trip and he hasn't been home in a few days, because that's a very iconic line.
That's really iconic too.
I love that.
That was also mine, but I picked a backup because I knew that someone else was probably going to pick it. And my backup was Trevor picks the music, shotgun shuts his cake hole.
That was my backup.
I love
so
that.
good. I love that.
And that is it for this week. I've been KJ. I'm here with my guests who are going to give you some plugs, and we're going to start with Meredith.
My social media is Shades of Dianira at Tumblr and Instagram, and you can go there if you want to see my drawings and the book I'm writing.
It's a very good book, and your drawings are very good.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Faith, how about you?
You can follow me at Miss Faith Ann across everything, and at Faith Ann Art for all of my art.
Please look at her art.
Yes, if you need an example of some art, check out the logo of this podcast.
Yay! I'm so excited.
It is so good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moira, how about you?
You can find me at Moira's_Frisk on everything.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, KJ, and congrats on your new pod.
Thank you for coming.
I've been KJ. You can find me on all the social media platforms at Life Messes of KJ. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, you can contact me directly, or you can reach out through the podcast social media. You can find the podcast and email us at supernaturalopinionspodcast@gmail.com, at SPN Opinions Pod on Twitter, Supernatural Opinions Podcast on Facebook, and at Supernatural Opinions Pod on Instagram, and Supernatural Opinions Podcast on Tumblr. And if you could subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast, that really helps people to find us. And if you want to hear more of me and my thoughts, you can check out my other podcast, Series of Opinions, available on all the same places as this one. Thank you again to Faith Ebert for our logo. This episode was written, produced, recorded, and edited by me. And special thanks to our guests,